the Rock and bring his ass to this ring? Give me a hell yeah!
Oh, what the heck not? Hey, I'm WB Ward.
And I'm Chip Douglas.
Back for you for some recorded live.
Recorded live.
Yes, for SCI Wrestling. I still to this day, it's a wrestling match to not say CSI.
CSI?
Because it is truly a crime the way that we do this.
It's true. Fly by the seat of our pants.
Good thing I have big pants. It's a good thing I started on a diet because, I tried to put on an old pair of Wranglers.
Yeah.
And I was looking at them. And on Wranglers, how on the back pocket they got that W stitched into them?
Yeah.
Mine were in a perfectly straight line.
Why?
It's time to diet. When your W on your back pocket has been stretched out to a straight line, it's time to start losing some weight.
When the Wranglers logo's popped off like a button, might be time to get a diet.
Certainly is. Okay, we got our fix for WrestleMania
right
out of the way. Got Extreme Rules coming up. Just later on this month.
Yep.
Looks like now we're recording this show this time around on a Wednesday evening on the 8th. So the Extreme is the 26th, which this coming Sunday we'll put it 2 weeks away.
2 weeks away?
Yeah, we are right now 2 weeks and 4 days.
All right.
2 weeks and 4 days away from Extreme Rules.
All right.
And unless they have posted something between yesterday and today that I didn't see, I thought Extreme Rules had every match where it had a gimmick of some kind.
They used to.
They don't have a single gimmick posted, but they only have one match scheduled so far, right?
Two.
2 matches?
Yeah.
Do either one of them have a gimmick to them of some kind?
No, not that I know of. We got the main event already set in stone.
Right.
The Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, which we'll get into that here in a little bit. And then didn't they confirm John Cena and Rusev? Yeah,
I think that's confirmed.
So I could see that being...
Or at least Rusev, unless John Cena somehow loses that title between now and then.
Right, well, it's not going to happen. So
that's true.
So that one's pretty much confirmed, so we'll see what happens.
I guess maybe you could call that a gimmick.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, well, let's go ahead and do one of our tried and true gimmicks of our very own, shall we?
This wine is delicious.
10,
it is.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
yes.
3, 2,
yeah.
1, 0.
Yeah.
What time is it, kids?
Here it is. It's the Twitter time. Tweet of the week. Tweet of the week.
Every time I think it's climax time.
It's time. It's Vader time. Now there's a memory.
Oh, there's memory there. Oh shoot! I just lost the tweet. Oh
gosh!
I hit the back button. My bad.
Once again, defeated by a smartphone.
Oh, all right. Today's tweet of the week is brought to you by Al Snow.
Okay.
And it has nothing to do with wrestling. Just he always does like the weirdest, quirky little, funny little tweets. So.
He does have good ones.
Yeah. So he goes, I threw a boomerang like 6 years ago and it never came back. Now I live in constant fear. I think it's good.
I used to have a line similar to that. As I tried to throw away an old boomerang and I just couldn't do it.
All right, so.
Okay, so we got the 2 matches scheduled so far for Extreme Rules. And no, I'm going to go ahead and call these gimmick free because they really are. You can't really say a title on the line is a gimmick. They need to go back into the roots and start coming up with stuff and doing things like, the 4-post match.
A good dog collar match.
Dog collar match, the bull, the bull, no.
Bull rope?
Bull rope match. I was trying to call it a bullwhip match, but bull rope.
I think that'd be great for the main event, actually. That way Rollins can't run.
Absolutely.
Perfect little gimmick for Randy Orton and Seth Rollins.
Oh, yeah.
So speaking of which, let's go ahead and start there. Randy Orton getting the shot at the title. Surprised?
No, not a bit.
I see how they got there with Randy Orton being at WrestleMania.
I think it's the only logical thing they could have done.
I think a rematch with Brock Lesnar.
Well, Brock kind of, at least if we believe the storylines, he kind of put a quelch on that.
You know what I think it is?
Huh.
I think this is WWE's way of keeping Brock Lesnar strong. Because if they had him face Seth Rollins in Extreme Rules, it's hard to make up some kind of rule or incident that Seth Rollins beats Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
So I think having him suspended indefinitely puts a good little spin on the storyline. So having him suspended makes Seth Rollins champion. He can go into Extreme Rules and come out victorious without damaging Brock Lesnar's reputation.
Now, this leads me to the question that does kind of bother me a bit. On one hand, I find this storyline very believable because I know Brock Lesnar, just by the nature of his real life persona, he is pretty much an untethered beast.
Right.
I mean, he can turn on you quicker than pit bulldogs. And I know, don't hit me with the emails. Well, it's all the owners. Well, it's all the trainers too, the wrestlers.
Right.
I do find it weird that they would suspend him within 72 hours of him signing a new contract. So I'm wondering, is this a legit storyline, or was this just a way to give him and Michael Cole a vacation at the same time?
This is both. Or this is a legit storyline. But I think it's just a good chance for him to take some time off. His contract is very limited, so to me, this is their way of limiting his dates.
Yeah.
Making Seth Rollins' title reign seem believable.
Now, as far as Michael Cole is concerned, he's been working for an awful long time without a break.
He has.
So this may have been just a built-in vacation for him as well.
Yep, absolutely. And it gives WWE a chance to see what kind of developmental announcers that they have.
Well, screw the announcers, because I've seen that just go steadily downhill since the loss of Jim Ross.
That's true.
Now, all due respect to JBL, Booker T, and the King,
right?
Because I think they do pretty well. But usually, whoever they get to fill in to sit in the middle seat, come on, guys.
But it's hard to replace a legend.
It is. You're not talking about Cole.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I'm talking about JR. So I've never been a Michael Cole fan as long as he's been doing it. But like I said, it's hard to.
He does a decent job. You got to give him cred there.
I think.
I don't think he'll ever be in the Hall.
Shoes.
I don't think he'll ever be in the Hall of Fame.
Who knows? Who knows? He's worked there for so long. He was such a company man.
He is.
Oh, I'm just still shocked that Michael P.S. Hayes hasn't been inducted in the Hall of Fame
yet.
Yet
the day is young.
I think it's Vince's way of ribbing Michael Hayes.
Why?
I don't know. I just think that's his way, because Michael Hayes has to sit there every year and has to wonder, I really deserve it more than him. The Freebirds, the freaking Freebirds are not in the Hall of Fame.
No question.
But the Bushwhackers are. And I love the Bushwhackers, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But they were not the Freebirds.
No, Freebirds definitely.
Like the Freebirds.
I do definitely agree with you there. I think the Freebirds definitely deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
So that's my.
However, they can't put all the deserving people in the Hall of Fame in the same year, because if they did, they would have all their fireworks shot off and they wouldn't have anybody interesting to add. And then they got to come up with all these Hall of Fame. What the hell are they putting them in there for? People left. Right. So they do have to kind of spread that mayonnaise a little thin over the bread.
Now, did you hear about the Scott Steiner Hulk Hogan incident? Did you hear about that? So apparently, at the airport, Scott Steiner.
Now, to refresh my memory, is Scott Steiner the one that has the eyeballs like the gecko lizard?
Huh?
Where one eye looks off into the distance and one eye looks over to the left?
Sure. Big Papa Pump.
Oh, okay. No, that's not the one. Okay.
Big Papa Pump.
Gotcha.
Big son of a gun. So, was famous with the Steiner brothers, one of the best tag teams of all time.
Yeah, okay.
In my opinion. So, I guess Hulk Hogan's wife was in the airport waiting for Hulk Hogan. The story goes that Scott Steiner went up to Hogan, or Hogan's wife, and said, "Is Hogan on his way?" And she goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Good, because I want to effing kill him."
Oh.
And it was all based on the fact that Scott Steiner didn't believe that Hulk Hogan should induct Macho Man in, because apparently Macho Man hated his guts all the way till he died. So Scott Steiner just didn't agree with that and just really threatened to kill Hulk Hogan, apparently to his wife. So it was so bad that the police are investigating it. And also, there were posters up around WrestleMania, backstage area, security areas,
Right.
of Scott Steiner's face saying that he is not allowed in the building.
Wow.
That's how much the threat was, and that's how much apparently Hulk Hogan took it legit.
Wow.
So I thought that was very interesting to hear about that. I'm always interested about stories like that.
Some people's kids. Oh, by the way, the eye thing, as you started telling the story, I realized I was thinking of Perry Saturn.
Oh, yeah. Another guy you wouldn't really want to mess with.
Yeah, that's true. But I think part of the reason you don't want to mess with the guy is because you tend to look at him and he looks like a Volkswagen without a-line headlights.
Right.
And you think, how serious can I take this guy?
Right. I always love Perry Saturn.
No, I think he's a great entertainer. I would like to see him come over to the WWE.
Who?
Perry Saturn.
You haven't seen him lately.
I should say come back because
you haven't seen him lately, man. He's not in shape, that's for sure.
Well, neither was the Undertaker until a few weeks before WrestleMania.
No, you have no idea. He's lost control.
Oh.
But some big news that came out besides of course the matches,
Right,
was the shocking retirement, which is kind of fitting, of A.J.Lee.
I know that one came out of that one kind of came out of left field.
So
I thought she was really getting back into the swing of touring and being maybe she just had some unfulfilled things in her contract she had to do before she could do anything.
Perhaps. I mean, it's really, I think it's odd that the wife of CM Punk is retiring at such a young age and at such a prime opportunity in her career, especially now that the Divas are getting more time on TV, especially after WrestleMania and the whole hashtag Diva movement, which she was going to be a big part of.
Do you see this hurting the Divas?
Oh, absolutely, tenfold. To me, she is she's the best diva wrestler they have. I think from a wrestling standpoint, I think Paige can hold her own, but I don't think that she's quite at age's party yet.
Doesn't Natalie have a little bit more potential than what they've been allowing her to show?
Oh, absolutely. I think she's a great wrestling performer. She's probably the better wrestler, but I think AJ is the better character.
That's true.
Because she is the best female on the mic, hands down. So yeah.
Oh, no, I'll give you that.
So the fact that she's retiring at this point, it's very shocking. It makes me think that maybe CM Punk's involved in there somewhere.
Oh, sure. I mean, this had to be resulting from, some of their pillow chats or, chats at the dinner table.
Right. And I wonder if she's gotten some resentment backstage.
Has she gotten some what?
Resentment backstage over that.
I'm sure she's probably not spoken to a lot.
Right. So I think there's multiple things. We'll never know. Well, I'm sure we'll know the truth eventually. Whenever she does a podcast or something like that. How she really feels, kind of like what CM Punk did.
And it could be something just as innocent as, hey, my husband retired, going down a new road, and I'm going to retire and go right along with him.
Right.
It could be something just as simple as that.
Hey, maybe she's going to women's MMA.
That could be.
You never know.
Could be. And I was kind of wondering about that myself. She's got a little bit of Spitfire in her, so I could see that being a possibility. But my God, isn't she kind of small to be doing that?
They have different weight divisions.
Do they?
Yeah.
I don't know much about MMA. I barely know anything about wrestling. How much would I know about MMA?
It's true. I really just use them on this show for good looks.
Yeah.
Man, I'm
because I'm just so darn cute.
Yeah.
That and I always pour you a glass of wine when you come over.
That's true. That helps.
That doesn't hurt.
That helps.
That's some pretty good wine. I need to get some more.
That's good.
I got a fine Jewish wine 2 weeks ago.
Ooh.
Have you heard of a Jewish wine? Daddy, will you buy me a Mercedes?
Oh, good Lord.
Okay. Now we'll get the emails.
So I forgot there is another match that's confirmed for Extreme Rules.
What's that?
That's the Daniel Bryan Wade Barrett match for the IC title.
Has that been locked in?
It's been locked in.
It has been locked in. But it's just another title match. Again, there's no gimmick match.
Which is surprising.
This just kind of makes me think of...
Well, they can't do a ladder match.
Well, no, but they can do other matches. There are tons of gimmick matches they haven't touched for years. So we hit on a few earlier. But this worries me that Extreme Rules is going to be a pay-per-view that just goes away, much like Night of Champions. You know, Night of Champions was the one night of the year where everybody had their title on the line, and that was the whole idea behind that show. Well, they quit doing the matches that way, and pretty soon the interest began to wane a little bit on it, and they no longer have that pay-per-view. I am worried that if Extreme Rules follows down this same path where they don't play true to the history of the show itself, people are also going to be losing interest in it because, come on, unless they actually stick to the game plan, stick to the format of the show itself, all you have is a paid version, albeit only $9.99 a month. You have a paid version now of Monday Night Raw.
It's true.
So what can I say? When I'm right, I'm right, and I'm not right very often, but I'll stick to my guns on that one.
Right. Okay. All right. I think the stipulations and gimmicks will come after the fact. I think we'll see. I think this coming up Raw, I think we'll start to see a little bit more development on that end. You can't call it Extreme Rules and not have some kind of Extreme Rules match.
You know, I have seen some semblance of maybe something in the works, because in WrestleMania and on last week's SmackDown, I saw something that I haven't seen in quite a while, and that was a wrestling match with juicing. We haven't seen that in years, where somebody gets cut. I don't mean to sound like I'm the gruesome guy of the bunch, and I want to see blood and gore, but damn it, I want to see some blood and gore. That, after all, is part of what made wrestling its huge attraction back, if you'll forgive the cliche, in the day. Now that they came up with the PG-13 era, they've shied away from that. Well, they did have some juicing in SmackDown. They did have a little bit. I think it may have been unintended, but they had a little bit in WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah, with Lesnar.
Yeah.
Because Lesnar was supposed to open.
And I would hate to see them, take that, run too far with it, and somebody get seriously hurt. Of course, I don't want to see that. But as it had been proven time and time again back in the old school, it can be done. If done properly, it's actually adds a bit to the show. Oh,
absolutely. I think it adds a little bit to the match. You can't do it a lot.
And for the morons out there, no, they don't use blood capsules.
No, they do not. They actually cut themselves.
It's one of the few.
Or they actually bust themselves open, which has happened.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and that's another gimmick. First blood matches.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it was the WWE the last time I saw one of those. Oh, excuse me. I think it was still called WWF then. But it was still it was the McMahon organization the last time I saw one of those matches. The first man who bleeds loses the match.
Right.
That always made for an interesting show.
I agree. I thought it was one of the better gimmicks.
It does kind of appeal to the lower base of humanity, doesn't it?
Right. And just, they can't go overboard, kind of like what ECW did. As much as I loved ECW, they were getting ready to move away from that. But it was like almost every match you had blood, and it's like, okay, this is a little bit too much. But I think, one of my favorite matches of all time was Great American Bash, Eddie Guerrero versus JBL, when they both bled, but Eddie Guerrero legitimately got cut, and it was brutal.
Wow.
He was bleeding like a stuck pig. But it added so much to the match, and it added so much to Eddie Guerrero at the same time because of the fact that he was, he always acted like he was like dazed and confused the whole match, which quite honestly, he probably was, with all that blood loss and still having to go. They still did another 15, 20 minutes after the fact. It was just a great match. I'm kind of wondering, too, with our society as litigious as it has become over the years, I'm wondering if the possibility of litigation from some parent who's raising a son or a daughter who has the brains of a turnip decides to juice themselves and winds up in the hospital. And they're suing WWE because, well, had it not been for you, my child would have never tried this, although forget the logical argument of bad parenting and you got a stupid kid. Even though they do come on the show and say, please do not do this at home. Even with those disclaimers, I wonder if that may play into the decision a little bit. Very well could. Very well cast.
And to that extent, I could probably understand it.
Right.
We got some really panty-waist attorneys out there, if that's the case, though. If they're honestly bringing lawsuits like that, and WWE's attorney cannot defend that.
That's true.
Because, come on.
Come on, really?
Your child is a moron. And if you don't think he is, then probably you are too.
So, speaking of gimmicks, I just want to bring this up.
Oh, yes.
What?
I'm sorry.
So besides First Blood, which you never said this straight up, but what were, like, say, your top 2 or 3 favorite gimmick matches?
Well, my favorite would have to be the pole match, the 4 corners.
Okay.
The 4 corner match, or the and here I go again. I started to call it the bull whip, the bull rope match.
Really? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, where there was a cowbell right in the middle of the bull, right in the middle of the rope.
Right.
I love those.
See, for me, it was always ladder matches are always my favorite.
Well, yeah, but you can't really take that away from
WrestleMania
or from labels. TLC.
TLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, we almost totally screwed that one up. TLC matches are always fun too. Now you could always implement. Hey, Barrett and Brian, they could have a TLC match at Extreme Rules because TLC is all the way in October. So you could legitimately have a TLC
without too
match
much without too much repetition.
Without too much, backup from that.
Now, as far as the talent is concerned that they have coming into this, I'm really happy to see that Sheamus came back, and he came back as a heel.
Yep.
Then on Monday night of this Monday past, they had a gentleman that it was the first time I had seen him in the ring. Evidently, he came from NXT, had a Dynamite opening to come out to, and I forget his name, but he's got big old floppy ears, kind of a slender guy.
Adrian Neville?
That's the one.
Yeah.
He seemed to actually put on a pretty decent show, even though he lost his match on Monday.
Which is stupid. That's so stupid.
You
bring him in from NXT.
Yeah, he should have went over.
And you kill him already. It's.
I tell you one other thing I'm very happy with, and I don't think we can give credit to WWE Creative. I think we can give credit to the WWE Universe, and that is taking New Day and turning them into heels.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that was all 100% audience driven.
Right. For once.
Once
they listen to the audience.
You can. Well, it wasn't so much them listening to the audience. It was just they could have brought them out as faces all they wanted to. But with all of the chants and all the boos and stuff like that, there's no way they were going to go over as a face. Even if they would have positioned them as being being good guys, even if they would have positioned them that way, they would still come off looking bad just because of the audience. The audience played a beautiful part in that.
Now that they're heels, I guarantee people are going to start cheering.
Probably. We do kind of go after the anti-hero anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of like Cena. Like if Cena actually ever turned heel, which at this point I don't see that ever happening. I think people would cheer him more. It's like, yes, we finally got it. We finally got the bad John Cena. So it's really hard to gauge what would be wrong and right, what would be right about turning someone. Well, I think with Dean Ambrose turning heel, Sheamus turning heel, I thought that was perfect.
Oh yes,
because he's not that good of a face, but he's a great heel.
I love his hair.
We should dye your hair red and do the same thing.
I bet you that made Red Rooster proud.
But this is actually real red hair.
Yes, it is
not dyed. So, but it's really tough. How you going to turn it? The whole Adrian Neville thing. I'm an NXT fan. Now, have you watched NXT yet?
Not yet. I need to.
It's the best show on TV as far as WB product. It's hands down the best. It beats Raw out every single week. Adrian Neville was the NXT champion for a long time. You bring him up to the big leagues and you have him job. What is that? Really?
Well, of course, their excuse is they need to push Rollins. They still could have pushed Rollins.
You could have put him with anyone.
But you could have still pushed Rollins by letting this guy from NXT win and then be promptly punished by JJ Security.
Or even better yet, don't steal his thunder. Maybe have Randy Orton come in and interfere.
Oh, yeah.
hit Rollins with an RKO, and then Adrian Neville can do his high spot, and then bam, he beats him. But it's because Randy Orton interfered.
Yeah.
So you're not killing Rollins, but you're also building Adrian Neville.
Yeah, there were all kinds of ways they could have done that. That's true.
Yeah, the fact that they totally smashed him. If you wanted Rollins to go over on someone, put him over on, I don't know, Stardust or or even Ambrose for that matter. You could put anyone there. Dolph Ziggler, you could put him there. People would really hate that one. So I just don't get it.
I do have
someone that just arrived.
Since you brought him up, I do have a prediction concerning Dolph Ziggler. He is going to be put on the back burner again.
I think so.
And I can already see it starting to form. They're already starting to pay attention to the other people in the promotion, and they're already starting to give him second fiddle roles. So I don't know if he has an agent or a manager, and I'm talking about a real agent or a manager, not just somebody who walks with you out to the ring. I don't know, but if he has representation.
You can't have agents in wrestling.
Really?
Because there's no union. So you can't have someone to represent you.
Well, just because there's no union doesn't mean you can't have representation.
Attorney, but that's about it.
They need some kind of representation. If they're putting him on the back burner, they don't need to be, because he would be a very good forefront.
Oh God, could you imagine agents in wrestling? Oh, now I'm a sports fan, so no, especially rabid football fan, Oakland Raiders all day long, and I know how much agents play their players or their owners and their general managers to get more money. Which is great.
Now it's interesting how you and I come at that same conclusion, but from two different roads. You come at it from the sports side of it.
Right.
I'm coming at it from the entertainment side of it, where an entertainer would have an agent. And they both have that thing in common. It's just representation, and a union shop is not required to have it.
Huh. I don't know.
So, I mean, that's what I'm looking at. And it just seems like the best interest of Dolph Ziggler is not being looked after. I don't know if he's just got a passive personality, and he's just that company guy who's willing to do anything, even if it requires him to step down and take the second fiddle role. It's really not to his best interest to do that, because eventually, if you keep him out of sight long enough, he will be out of mind as well. And that would be a shame, because he's probably one of the sharper talents that the organization has.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. In wrestling, you just don't build yourself up like that. I mean, you can't go into Vince's office or Triple H's office and say, I need more TV time. You're not pushing me correctly. If you do that, I'm going to end up out the door.
Yeah, that very well could be.
Because it's just the way you don't play the game. So from the agent standpoint, that'd be the agent's shop. If we're looking at that way, in my opinion, it'd be the agent's job to go in there and say, hey, you need to get, look what he's doing for you. He needs more time.
Well, they would have to.
I just don't see WB hearing an agent out saying, you know what, don't tell us what to do. We know what we're doing.
Oh yeah, like that's proven to be true.
I mean, that's what they would say.
Yeah.
Not to say that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, coming up this week, or within at least through next week, we should be able to see some more matches come to fruition, or some stipulations being placed on the current matches. Hopefully a little bit of both.
And we get WB Network free again for April.
Yes, we do.
I can't believe this.
That would be awesome.
I mean, do you think this is actually just going to be free? Give it like a year, they're just going to do free all the time, and then try to make revenue based off advertising?
That very well could roll that way. Actually, I don't see it happening, because I think pay-per-views have already, all in general, have taught business owners they can have their cake and eat it too. Still charge for it and sell advertising. Right. I really don't see it happening any other way.
All right.
Anyway, be sure to join us next week for another edition of this nice little get-together that we love to call SCI.